You've heard the promise: adopt AI, type a few words, and save yourself 10 hours a week. But for most professionals, that initial excitement wears off fast, and the tool ends up abandoned. The frustration usually starts right at the keyboard. You type a fast, thoughtless instruction, and ChatGPT hands you back robotic, unusable fluff. By the time you manually edit out all the generic corporate speak, you haven't actually saved any time. We tend to think about the cost of AI as the monthly subscription fee. The real investment is the cognitive load and the setup time required to generate a deliverable you can actually use. Today, we are taking 10 popular ChatGPT tricks and transforming them from simple tips into a tiered, practical optimization guide based entirely on how much time you have to spend. The massive gap between the promise of AI and its practical reality comes down to one missing metric: we fail to measure the return on investment of our prompts. This chart maps the central trade-off of AI. The horizontal axis is prompt setup time. The vertical is output usability. Bottom left is the trough of generic output. Zero effort equals a useless draft. Top right is the zone of professional utility. Heavy constraints deliver near-final work. We are going to evaluate 10 common AI capabilities by mapping them directly onto this matrix. This will separate the fleeting social media gimmicks from actual, resilient professional workflows. Every minute spent refining a prompt on the front end reduces the manual editing required on the back end. Our goal is to identify the specific points where small increases in setup time yield the largest gains in usability. Let's start with a group we'll call low-friction utilities. This covers basic tasks like summarizing long articles, translating languages, or rewriting an email to sound more professional. The input mechanics here are simple. You paste raw, existing text into the chat and apply a single, rigid constraint. For example, summarize this in 5 bullet points, or translate this into natural American English. Plotting this on our chart puts us in the middle left. Setup time is near zero, but usability is high. You get instant polish on rough drafts. But there is a strict limitation. These inputs fail entirely for original content creation. This booklet operates strictly as a refinement tool. It is built for professionals who are completely starved for time and simply need to clean up work that already exists. The math checks out. Low-friction utilities offer a positive ROI, provided you accept them for what they are, a way to clean up old ideas rather than a way to generate new ones. Moving up a tier, we hit accelerated ideation. This includes using the AI to simplify complex topics, brainstorm business concepts, or build out daily productivity schedules. Looking at our matrix, this shifts our input strategy dead center. You provide a specific context window, bypassing blank page syndrome for immediate structural momentum. But the trade-off: the AI generates massive volume with incredibly low nuance, lacking your unique industry insight. Because of that, you pay a curation tax. You will spend time manually filtering through dozens of mediocre, identical ideas to find one viable concept. Accelerated ideation builds a foundation fast, but without heavy human curation on your end, the final outputs remain structurally sound, but strategically hollow. The final tier of prompting treats the model as a collaborative partner, shifting the workflow away from simple one-off commands. This requires 2 things up front. First, you must establish a rigid persona. You are a professional marketing expert. Second, you demand that the AI ask you 5 clarifying questions before it generates a single word. This is chain prompting. A single starting input expands into 3 cascading feedback loops. You iteratively command the AI to improve across multiple consecutive turns. Overlaying this onto our matrix pushes us to the extreme top right: maximum setup time for maximum usability. This method causes emotional friction. It forces you to actively manage the AI the same way you would direct a junior employee, and that requires immense patience. The collaborative optimizer tier feels agonizingly slow during the first minute of setup, yet it is the only workflow proven to save you hours of back-end editing. Knowing the ROI of a prompt is entirely useless unless you match it to your specific professional bottleneck. This scorecard aligns your available time with the right strategy. If you are an AI beginner, adopt Bucket 1 exclusively. Use it to fix emails and summarize reports. It builds your baseline trust in the tool with zero risk. If you are a time-poor professional, rely heavily on reverse prompting. Force the AI to ask you questions and extract the context from you, minimizing your time staring at a blank text box. And if you are a workflow optimizer, abandon single prompts entirely. Mandate chain prompting for all your deep work tasks. There is no universally perfect prompt. Your ideal strategy depends entirely on your available setup time and the primary bottleneck in your day. The unshakable rule of AI generation remains constant. Zero cognitive effort in the initial prompt guarantees heavy human effort in the final edit. Succeeding with large language models requires a mental shift. Stop treating them like a sterile search bar and start treating them like a collaborative workshop. ChatGPT will not do your job for you, but it functions as a force multiplier for the quality of the logic and constraints you provide, scaling your specific expertise across a larger volume of work. If your input strategy is 0, your output will be 0. But if you invest the upfront time to constrain the model, the return on investment will follow.